All the pretty girls stand up. All the pretty boys stand up.
Pretty boys in the building.
Sway. This right here is my sway. Sway. All the girls are on me. Damn. Everybody pay attention. This right here is my pretty boy sway. 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 Girls on my rank. Pretty sway. Girls on my rank. Sway. Pretty boy sway. Pretty boy sway. 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 Girl on my rank. Pretty boy sway. Girl on my rank. Pretty boy sway.
Soldier.
Get out the way. Pretty boy coming through.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another stream with Swaggle Haas. How are you guys doing? Happy Father's Day to all the comic book dads out there in comic book collecting land. Has anyone told you recently that you're doing a great job? Okay? I know you. I know all the comic dads out there. You're doing great. You are awesome. Thank you for everything you do for the comic book community. Taking your kids to comic book stores, passing on this wonderful hobby to the next generation, making sure that there's going to be bag buyers for our comic book bags, because that's what we need to do. Dump all of our bags on Gen Alpha and Gen Z. So it's up to you, comic book dads, to ensure that happens. And so I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a special Father's Day stream. Shout out to my dad. You know, if it wasn't for my dad taking me and my brother all those years ago to the Batman Tim Burton 1989 movie, and then immediately into a comic book store that very same summer, we probably wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have a YouTube channel talking about comic books. You guys probably think to yourself, I now don't like Swaggle Haas's dad. It's all his fault. Now I have to deal with Swaggle Haas. Well, yeah, it is his fault. So go blame him. But no, shout out to my dad. Love you. Thank you so much for everything you do for me. And yeah, bringing me into the comic book hobby and everything else. So anyways, I thought it'd be kind of fun to fire it up, hang out with the community. Casual stream. It's Sunday. Like, what is there to talk about? I don't know. Lots of things. We can recap some of the interesting comic book news. We can do a little bit of a call-in if we want to do that. It's one of those things where it's like I kind of just want to fly by the seat of my pants a little bit. If people want to hop in and maybe talk about their dad, give their dad a special comic book shout out, or maybe they are a dad and they just want to talk about the books that they bought for themselves today on Father's Day, because you've earned it. Go buy yourself that key. So, we're going to do that. We'll talk about some, interesting news. We got the GSX foils. We got to talk about that. We got swimsuit comic books that are selling out like crazy. We got CGC news. Been a little while since we talked about CGC. Can't wait. Can't wait. It's going to be a big news week. It's going to be a big news week. Let me just put it that way, guys. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Like, we're going to have, how like sometimes it's like, oh, I tune into like Swaggle Haas's, YouTube channel. And it's like, oh, cool. Yeah. Like he picked up a book. Okay. Yeah. He's talking about, crypto, the dot, And then there's the weeks where it's like hand on the face, CGC, grading drama. And those are like, oh man, this is good. Let's tune this. This is going to be a good week of videos. You know what I mean? We're going to get that week. I think this week is going to be that week. And there's already people talking about some of this stuff. So we're going to kind of hint at that and talk about it, and there's other things to discuss. Cryptic Instagram posts that we can hint at and talk about that are maybe inferring things leading up to news stories that are coming out this week. We're going to talk about those as well. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be chill. It's going to be cool. What else? A little bit of housekeeping. You may notice I got a little nick up here on my cheek. I cut myself shaving just before we got on stream. Yeah, that's right. I wanted to look good for you guys. before we get into comic books and get down to business, let me just kind of wax poetic a little bit here, okay? Do you guys know how hard it is to be a comic book YouTuber who doesn't wear hats or is not balding? I have to get my hair ready every time I'm on camera. And that is not easy to do. Look at all the comic book content creators out there. There's not a lot of us that are not either bald or don't wear hats on camera. I'm one of the few. This is hard work. Okay, I got to shave. I got to like do my hair. I cut myself, all this stuff just for you guys because I want to look good for you guys. You know how you know that comic book content creators who have hair are a rare thing? Is that you can have the comic book community awards have a special category for best facial hair, but they don't have a special category for best hair because there's not enough people with hair that can necessitate a category. Yeah, I just wanted to say, I try really hard, guys. Sometimes I go full alfalfa over here, okay? Like my hair is up and it's like a whole thing. I can't turn profile to you guys. If I just look straight, that's what I do. I'm doing my best. Anyway, so get that out of the way, okay, so that it's not distracting. But with that said, let's check in with the chat. Say hello to all you guys on Sunday. Shout out to Jose. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you, Jose. Is anyone a father out there? Let me know. What'd you guys do today? Did you do stuff? I know Nando's a father. Shout out to Nando. What's going on, man? It's good to see you. We got SOV Collector. So that's where it all went wrong. It's true. It's true. You get hooked. You take it to the comic book store and then it all goes downhill from there. Shout out to Cameron. He's a dad. I gave away comic books to kids this weekend at our garage sale. Hopefully we get some future comic book geeks. Very nice, Cameron. You are fighting the good fight. Someone is going to have to buy my Darkhawk books. And maybe it could be the kids that you get hooked. Shout out to Paradise Comics. What's going on, Paradise? Shout out to Derek. What's going on, Derek, man? Look at you, man. Happy Father's Day, everyone. Derek, what's going on, man? 99 Newsstand in the house. Jose, what up? Hello, everyone. We got Jeffrey out here. What up, Mickey? Happy Father's Day to all the dads who are their kids' personal ATMs. That's true. It's true. Got to support your kids. What up, 99? That's you guys talking amongst each other. Happy Father's Day. We got Vancouver Comic Junkie in the house. We got a bunch of other people in the house. Ozzy. I see people. Okay, now the chat's getting out of control. And I'm just going to end it with Gary here, who says, Happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. Happy Father's Day indeed. Well, boys, we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of news stories, and I thought, we could just kind of go through it and see how the conversation goes. If you got questions, by all means, throw it out. You want to hop on the stream? I'll put a link in the description. You can hop on the stream or something. I don't know. But let's get through the news and talk about CGC. It's been a while since we've talked about CGC. And, one of the things that I think is really interesting about this calendar year so far, I remember going back to our New Year's show that we had with like Rob Neo Cards and Comics, Manu 99, Ryan Automatic, Lawrence Mighty Comics, Drew Como, like all of us, we got together. We talked about a bunch of stuff. And one of the things I asked that group was, what would be a successful year for CGC? And I can't remember who it was. Maybe this was my answer. I just said, I think a successful year from CGC coming off of the year that they just had would be that literally no one talks about them at all. Like it's head down, pencils down, shut up and grade. And I feel like they've just been doing that. Like granted, not a lot of people have been grading, but they've basically been shut up and grade mode. Like this entire first half of the year. And I would say that that's actually a pretty good thing, all things considered. Because it was like, at this point, through last year, it was already chaos with everything that they had going on over in that building. But now we got a little bit of news. And this is not a bad thing. This one is actually a very good thing. They dropped this little teaser on their Instagram called Stay Tuned that showed this. A bunch of people commenting, DC characters, we need DC. Where's the DC characters? DC labels, little social video. And I think that we all know what that means. The universe is about to expand. Yes, that is right, folks. For your graded collectibles, CGC is coming out with DC custom labels. Oh my God. Comics are saved. DC custom labels are coming. Thank the Lord. Comic books going back to the moon. Now we got DC custom labels. Everyone can breathe a sigh of relief. Jokes aside, I actually think that this is fine. This is a good thing. I mean, like having DC custom labels, why not? You already have Marvel custom labels. People like them, seemingly. I personally am not a big fan of custom labels. You want to know why? I want to see the notation on the front of the label. I don't care about the little picture that is on it. I want to say first appearance of underlying character. I don't want to turn it around. You're going to make me flip the book around to know what the significance of it is? How will I be able to have people over in my room and walk them over to there and they don't know anything about comic books and they're like looking at all the keys and I'm just like, yeah, see that right there? Why don't you take a look at that? Take a look at that label. And then they don't know anything about comic books and they lean up to the label. You know, maybe they have their glasses. They take their glasses off. They look and they go, first appearance of Thor. Wow. First appearance of Thor. And I go, that's right. That's right. And if they had to flip it around and I said like, oh yeah, why don't you flip it around and take a look at what's on the back? I'd lose them. They're not going to flip it around. And that's why I don't like custom labels. I've thought about this a lot, but I'm not like everybody. Some people like the custom labels. And to those people, they're having a great day. They're very happy about DC labels coming to CGC. This is one of those things where it's like, yeah, I could have made a video about this, but this is what the live stream is for, because it's not really much to say about this other than, are we about to go into a meta for comics where DC is king? Like if James Gunn's Superman comes out and it is the greatest movie ever, like, are we all aboard the DC train? Are we all aboard the DC train? Now, I know some of you guys out there are hardcore DC. And I realize that I'm a product of the time in which I grew up, where, yes, I mentioned that 1989 Tim Burton Batman, a DC property, got me into comic books. But really, at that time, in terms of comic books, I think Marvel was still king. And by and large, I feel like Marvel has been king for the last 50 years. Is it ever possible that DC could overtake them as the number one? I don't know. It's tough. That's a hard ask. But now with Superman and DC labels, it definitely could be a thing. So yeah, there you go. What do you guys think? DC labels, does this do anything for you? Are you like jonesing to send in your books now to CGC? Or is it just one of those things where it's like, cool, yeah, I'll throw a custom label on it. What the heck? I kind of feel like custom labels are a modern thing. You know what I mean? It's like, does anyone want a custom Superman label on their early Superman Golden Age comic book? I do, swag. Shut up. I'm just kidding. You can do what you want. Buy what you like. So that's that. Now, other interesting CGC news was that they had this cryptic little post right here. Now, I know some people have talked about this already. Shout out to Rob. Shout out to Ryan. We've been discussing behind the scenes, and I have not yet made my video about this because I'm waiting for this to actually come out, which, as you guys can see, 6/17. It's going to drop something, some strange cryptic, oh my God, hold on to your butts. Something is coming. Courtyard IO and CGC combination. And this is where it gets juicy. This is where it gets spicy because I know what it's going to be, but we're going to wait. We're going to wait till we actually get there. We're going to wait till we make the video. We're going to wait till we talk about this. But I don't want to be hyperbolic here. But this is the beginning of the end for all of comics. We are screwed. Hobby is over. Flush it all down. Sell, sell, sell. It's over, guys. It's over. It is over. This is the beginning of the end. We are in the simulation. Black Mirror, the comic book episode, has officially arrived, coming 6/17. But I'm not being a doomsayer, okay? I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here. But yeah, this is very interesting. It's okay. I'm gonna drop the shtick. I'm just trying to be funny for you guys. But like, yeah, this is a very interesting drop that's coming, and we'll definitely really get into it. And depending on how, like, I don't know, like how much you guys want to consider like second and third order effects, like how crazy this could end up being within comic books, could go to like, like that dystopian future level of comic book buying and flipping and all that stuff. That said, though, I don't know if comic book people are as degen as card people, so this may not be that big of a thing. It may not actually be all that popular within the comic book community, if we're being honest. But 6/17, we'll definitely make a video about this. Although maybe I won't, because not that I can say specifically, but it's going to be a big news week, guys. It's going to be a big news week. Okay. And I might have to make that video not on the same day that info drops, because there might be something else to talk about. In a completely unrelated note to the thing that I'm being very cryptic about, saying that there is a big announcement that's coming out this week that I'm not going to hint at, I thought I might also bring up this very not connected post that the 99 newsstand made earlier this week. And I thought, hey, maybe I can talk about this on the live stream as well. This thing that is not connected to the thing that I'm inferring at all. So 99 made this post that was pretty interesting, and I thought it'd be kind of like a fun little conversation to have, with you guys, just in this live stream, as we're kind of looking back on the news that happened this week. Again, to clarify, I think this is what the Sunday shows are for. Sunday shows are for this, right? So we have this post, big red X. In case you guys didn't know, big red X's means bad. That means no mas. Big red X over a 99. What if the grade, let me read better. What if the 99 grade was gone? Continue. Would it matter? Would you rather grade with a company that offered a 99 or with a company that offered increased odds of getting a 10? If the 99 was gone, would the 98 have to become more stringent? If a 10 had a tiny tick, could you be proud of it? Would it be fine if everything nicer than a 98 was simply a 10? Should a grading company, I can make an argument for both keeping and for eliminating the 99. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Very interesting stuff. What would happen if some hypothetical grading company came out and said, you know what, we're not going to do a 99, but we are going to do a 10? Would those 99s go towards the 10 or go towards the 99? And how do you guys feel about that? I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say, but let's look at some of the comments on 99's post. I agree with Coast Mainline Comics. I also believe the 99 and the 10-0 are unnecessary. These grades are fine for a metal cover or something along those lines, but because grading is often subjective and not an exact science, it creates resentment and diminishes those who over the years held a 9.8 as the gold standard. The few 9.9s I have seen come from Silver Age books in particular are often questionable and in some cases appear to fall into the laps of those who do not do a lot of business with CGC. Yeah. I feel like if you've been collecting for a long time, in general, you're not a big fan of 9.9s and 10s. Like the Todd Father, who's been around for a long time, and in general, he's just not a fan of them. But like he said, if there's new modern comic books that are using printed material that kind of, get a 10.0, then what are you going to do about those? So you kind of have to have a grading standard that allows for it. But the question is, do you want to have these like very specific differences in being like a 9.8, 9.99, and then a 10? Back in the Game comic says, I think first off, there are too many 9-point grades. 2, I think the 9.8 should be your flawless copy, and then just one grade higher, whichever that is between 9.9 and 10. That copy should be exceptionally flawless, i.e. perfect wrap and cut, brilliant color, etc. Lastly, I'll add 9.8 should only have white pages. So I feel like what Rohan is saying here is he's kind of saying that he would agree with this hypothetical grading company that might come into the market and say, we're not going to do 9.9s, we're just going to have 10s. So a 9.8 is the standard, but on the rare occasion, they'll have some crazy, super high graded thing that comes out that's perfectly cut, perfectly colored, perfectly aligned, and that can get a 10 out. So Rohan's in favor of, those companies. Rage Theo says 10s shouldn't be given. I think a lot of people agree with that. Let me do this here. We have a special guest in the house, in the backstage. Some of you may know him as Cameron. Some of you may know him as Ripstick Comics. I know him as the guy who roots for that football team that the Niners beat last time they were good in the playoffs. But welcome to the stream. We got Cameron. What's going on, Cameron? Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Go Lions.
Man, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Let me make this full screen. Yeah,
So,
honestly, I think I'm in the side of it's got what makes it perfect, I guess. I'm okay with it, but the inconsistency makes it so hard for me to be okay with it. And then I don't know. To me, it should just be 9.8, maybe move a 10 if there's something that's absolutely perfect. What's the differentiation between a 9.9 and a 10, I guess?
Yeah. So you kind of agree that like it would actually just be better to get rid of a 9.9.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to differentiate. Like if you think it's practically perfect, if there's no way for it to be better, then 10, it should be a 10, right? At least that's my thought. And even then it should be next to impossible to get that. But, and it makes sense with like the foil books and stuff, some of that new material, like it makes sense that there's going to be next to flawless like copies of those. So I don't know. It's hard anyway with like the consistency of stuff I don't know. So,
well, it kind of feels like the more specific of a grading system that you have, where you have like 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, 9.8, 9.9, it's like all of a sudden now there has to be like a logic and a reasoning for
right.
like every single step, like why this is a this and this is a this, versus if you just had it be, okay, there's a 9.0 and then there's a 9.5 and then there's a 10.
Right.
And there's like this clear, like kind of wiggle room.
Definitive that, yeah, right.
That I feel like you'd have less people complaining.
Well, and they have their book that says, oh, this makes it a 10 or like what is allowable in a 9.8 and like what even, didn't it say there's technically defects that are allowed in a 9.9 or something, which is like, yeah. Okay, how many books have been sent in and probably maybe even had that defect or like maybe even slightly less than that, but just got a 9.8. So it's like, I don't know. There's no consistency, so it doesn't make any sense to me with why a 9.9 makes sense by their standards, especially. And yeah, so
let me ask this. Okay, hypothetically.
Okay.
Swaggle makes Swaggle grading.
Okay.
And I decide that I'm going to do 9.8s, no 9.9s, and 10.0s. Okay. And I really like 10.0s. And I just start saying that my 9.8s that are CGC 9.8s are actually like 10.0s. Like you send me like a Jim Lee X-Men #1 that is a 9.8, I'm just putting a 10 on it. Do you think that, like, how do you think people would react if that started happening?
I don't know. And like I think somebody brought up PSA too. Are they gonna what are their standards going to be? Are they going to start allowing a lot of 10s too? And will that affect the market? So it's so tough to say how like the general base will react to that. So like if you were to do that, would people like the number? People like seeing the 10.
I know that's what
So
I'm thinking. You know? Like there might be. I would assume that there would be this like immediate scoffing within the community, right? Like it would be like, "Oh, that's ridiculous."
Right.
Like 9/8 are the real books. Like I don't trust Swaggle-Haas 10-0s and all this stuff. But I kind of think over time, especially for modern stuff, like a Jim Lee X-Men #1, like Lizard Brain will just take over. They'll just be like, oh, like but a 10-0 just is better. Like a 10.
Well,
a
and
10
how
just looks
many
decent
like
from
pristine? I mean, there's so many, like especially a lot of the modern books. There's so many people that send in pristine books, and it's like they kind of expect a pristine grade, right? So the 10 would kind of be the expectation. So I don't know. And then if they were consistent with it, I think consistency is always key, right? So if you're consistently giving the 10s for next to pristine books, you know, people I think would fall in line and accept it. So I don't know. I'm like going more and more against like grading and stuff these days anyway. Like I had a stack of books that I was like debating on doing a 9/8 pre-screen, and like one of the reasons was because I have a bunch of first Spider Boys that I was going to see if I could get a 9/9, like especially back when they started doing, because that's what I'm going to do. But and there are none still, so to have the one would be sweet. And then my thought was they were doing what seemed like the comparative grading for a stack of the same book. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe if I send in a large stack of like next to pristine copies of that, maybe I could get one and be the first one. But then I'm just like, I don't know, kind of lost interest in even doing it. And then there's some other books I was like maybe going to include, and I don't know. I don't know. Just don't really want to do it. And then some of the stuff, if it was like stuff that I wanted to keep, I don't want them to damage it, because I had sent something in for the Del Otto signing, and I don't really send stuff in, but I don't make it to a ton of cons, and Del Otto I don't think even makes it to the States very often. So I had sent something in, got a remark. Actually, it's up. I got it behind me, but and they damaged the book. So they split the spine. They split the bottom corner spine. Oh, and it got a 9/4.
Did they tell you that or no?
Like it, I know it wasn't there before, like because it's so like, and it's like very visible, like in the slab even, and like I checked it out before I sent it in. So it's a bummer. But I was more sending it for the remark anyway. But still a bummer. So like stuff that especially some expensive books, if they're kind of PC books and I want to send in, I don't want them to damage it and stuff either, and I'd just rather keep it raw and just enjoy it that way. And so, but
let me pull up Iggy's comment here with the $5 super chat. Happy nerdy Father's Day. I have 2 of those big time X-Men foils. They are getting ridiculous, but hey, catch me at TurtleCon and I'll see ya on one. Thank you, Iggy, for the $5. Cam, did you pick up any of those GameStop X-Men?
No,
foils?
That's one of I've been on top of some of the stuff lately, hitting up at like the J. Scott Campbell stuff. So I'm kind of missed out on the X-Men foil one. Just, I don't know, just didn't know about it, I guess, in time and couldn't get it. But the J. Scott Campbell, I've tried, I guess I'm a dirty flipper now, because I've done 2 pre-sales of J. Scott Campbell stuff on eBay. And I've hopefully this works out. Hopefully I'm not like, because I don't know how it works with pre-sale on eBay.
I was saying, like, I kind of feel like you have to do the pre-sale so that you can kind of beat the rush. But then, like, we talked about that, like, not on stream, but we were just saying how it's like, I just don't feel, it's too much anxiety for me to be like, I got to wait for these books to come to me, and like, I'm going to pre-sell them. And like, I have this order that's like hanging over me. Like, and I don't know.
That's why I didn't do the swimsuit one, because I did just the 2 Marvel Rivals. Or no, I did the second Marvel Rivals, and then I did the what is the name? Who does the negative space variants? The
like
John
the Rogue One,
John
Falcon.
Tyler Christopher. So I did that for the Mary Jane stuff, and then I'm like, all right, I have 2 pre-sales. This is like hundreds of dollars that you're, spending to buy them in general. I was like, should I do the swimsuit one? And because I didn't know what the margins would look like and stuff too. So I'm like, I'll just see how these 2 go, and then I'll see if I want to continue down the path or whatever. And so did you get those at all? I had seen they were doing well. So
I didn't do it. I mean, I was going to talk about them later in the stream, for sure, and just do a little check-in, and they're still selling pretty well. And it was funny because like I made my video about it, and I compared it to like the Big Time Collectibles one, and like someone in the comments was like, he hit me with the well, actually. He was like, well, actually, the foil is slightly different. I was just like, dude, shut up, man. Like this is the same book.
It's the same book.
It's
just a reprint. It's a reprint. It's a reprint foil. It's like the Marvel thing moved, and that was practically it. A little Marvel logo or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But people get what they're gonna get, I guess, and I've capitalized on the couple Scott Campbell ones. At least I'm a dirty flipper now. So
yeah, well, we'll get into those in a second. Let me see here. We just want to see what people were saying with the 99s and 10s while I have you here. I think 99 should be the highest and drop the 10. How do you feel about that? Like 10-0, like there is no such thing as perfect.
I mean, I agree that there is probably not, but the mind wants a 10. Like if anybody could have a 10, that's what
big number. Yeah.
I mean, we always say, oh, buy the book, not the grade, but there's damn well people are buying stuff for the grade. I mean, that's why there's crazy sales on whatever high grade stuff. And then we look at the book and we're like,
I feel like, isn't this just one of those things where there's just, what would you call it? Like power creep? Like, I don't know anything about like Olympic diving, but I feel like the judges giving them like a 10 is like not a thing. And like you would get 9-9s, but like now I feel like everyone just gives 10s because like everyone just wants to see the 10.
Is that happening in diving right now?
That's just something I made up, and I'm going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. So yes, it's happening. And so this is what happens, Cam, is everything goes by way of 10. Derek says they should do 9, 9, 5, 10. How do you feel about that system?
I mean, I don't like that because we've learned the 9-0, 9-2, 9-4, 9-6, 9-8, I guess. Yeah. So now completely. And what would it do to everything that's graded differently before that, I guess? So
it's true. It's like so much in the ecosystem. It'd be hard for like people to wrap their heads around it. But I guess if you could wave a magic wand and like start grading all over, do you think like a 9, 9, 5, 10 would be better?
I would prefer it. I'd prefer it because I like the bigger gaps in like what makes the flaw, like what should be what, So
totally,
I would actually prefer it.
Yeah, I do too. Well, Cam, did you do anything for Father's Day? I mean, you got anything going on?
I was at the lake. I live by a lake, so I was out. They have a little beach there. I was hanging out with the family today, so chill. And we had a garage sale yesterday, so I just got rid of some crap, and I sold some comic books too, but mostly just gave away to all the neighborhood kids and stuff. So
that's awesome.
So
that's awesome. Well, interesting stuff, guys, with, again, Manu's story right here. A lot of interesting conversation. I'll let you guys kind of fish around, trying to see if there's any other interesting things that people were bringing up. A lot of people bringing up the 909-510 kind of situation. Let's see what Journo says. Journo says, I honestly think they need to eliminate the 0.2 differential in the 9s and keep a 9095. Yeah, so he's on board with that as well. From there, you keep the 9-9, which you basically blend a 9-8 and 9-9 criteria as it currently sits. Basically, it would be a more strict current 9-8 and would be the typical high grade to seek. Then the 10 still holds the same weight as it does today. The only other option would be to simply eliminate the 9-9 and be even more strict about 9-8. So, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people in a vacuum would love that we just moved to this new system of 9-9 and 9-5. I think to your point, I think it would just be confusing, or there would be a lot of people, I guess, upset about it, and people wouldn't know how to price, and they'd be like, "So is a 9.5 the same price as a CGC 9.4?"
Yeah, it'd be hard to price for a while, like until like a lot of people would eventually kind of resubmit to probably get it within the correct new grading system or whatever. But that's a lot of money though. There's just like so many stuff that's already slabbed too. So
Yeah,
if they did that, like they'd probably it could definitely be a new money making scheme that CGC could do, because people would probably try to regrade to meet the new system. But I don't know. I think right now it'd be really tough. We can't wave that magic wand, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. Rob says, "Is this a call-in show?" There's no link to the call. I just put a link in the description. It's like half call-in show. We got topics to talk about.
Yeah, let's get a group here.
Yeah, hop on and chat. Well, let's hop into the next topic. So that kind of wraps up like the CGC again. This thing is coming here. We'll do videos on this when it comes out. It'll be interesting how it all shakes
and what the labels are too. Yeah, I'd be
here he
curious
is,
to see.
hopping on the stream. The man himself, Rob, Neo Cards and Comics. What's going on, Rob?
I just came to take my victory lap.
Yeah, I know. The parade will commence officially when I make a video about this. I'll be sure to give you your flowers.
I expect at least 15 inserted clips of me saying that this was coming.
What? I'll get my non-existent editor on that right now. I'll have him be like, "Hey, go find all the live streams that Rob has been on where he's been talking about this."
You could just pull the one from the what was that, end of year or beginning of the year? I don't remember what that was from this year.
Yeah. Maybe I'll find that. Maybe I'll do that for you. Maybe we can do that. Well, Rob, now that I have you, I pulled up the trending list. I was going to get more in depth to the Giant Size X-Men foil. We were already talking about this. Did you hear about this book? You know about this one?
I watched your video on it. I don't see any swimsuits on that cover.
There is no swimsuits on this. So it's like we are definitely in the era of comic book sales where it's either swimsuit to Gooners or it's foil to like people that need, the dopamine of seeing things shiny. But there's a lot of people that want that because if you can see, this thing's still selling like crazy.
What if you could buy $100 blind bag and pull a foil Giant Size X-Men one out of it?
I mean, that's what Whatnot wants to do. That's what they've been doing.
Redone by J. Scott Campbell. And they're all wearing
in a bikini. What if you just did this cover in foil, but they're all wearing bikinis?
Yes.
That would probably sell. But yeah, I just think I find this one interesting because it is very similar, like we were saying, to the Big Time Collectibles one, and someone had to correct me that it was not exactly the same book. To which I say, oh, okay, well I get it now. I too would pay $50 for it. In that case,
is the Big Time selling for more, or is it selling for less, or similar? Are they all kind of selling the same?
I think you could make an argument. The only sale that has happened kind of in the recent time with this has been, well, let's actually see. Giant Size X-Men.
Because that was the first of the foil reprints, I guess, right? So you'd wonder if would that hold any more weight.
I don't think anyone has been interested in these particular ones.
Right.
Okay, so there's a slab 9.8 version that's sold for $70, but there hasn't been a raw that is sold. So,
okay.
Hard to say. But I mean, yeah, like now that he points it out, I totally see it. He's right. This is so different.
Foil books really do not look good graded.
What's that?
They don't.
Foil books do not look good graded.
No, they don't. You know, that's a whole other thing. I don't know what it is, but I feel like foil has just gotten bad. Like foil when we were young used to be awesome. Like I pulled up this book. Like, you guys remember this one? Like, remember this Hulk comic with the green foil back in the day? Like, I feel like 90s foil was like, it would pop and it would like look so good.
You're like a Venom Lethal Protector.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's on my
Protector.
wall. That one's on my wall. That's my favorite foil book of all time.
Yeah,
so.
but like foil these days, like it's so muted. Like I don't know why.
Actually, I don't remember the name, but there's an account where he's taking like some older books, like mostly like 90s books, and then he's adding like the foil treatment to it, like doing an overlay, and it's like really cool. I should figure out what the guy's account is, but it's actually pretty cool. Like way cooler than just like the straight foil covers that they're all doing, like remaking stuff now with. So.
Right. Well, is this what you're talking about? Because Manu says because foil with standard ink versus full foil.
Right.
Are they skimping out on foil? Full foil loses a lot of detail.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
So they're even going cheap on the foil these days, which is unfortunate. But anyways, that's foil. Giant Size X-Men 1 on the trending 20 list. This book just absolutely killing it. I can't imagine it's going to last through the next week, but kind of an interesting story, at least for this past one. Kind of funny how things have caught on like that, but haven't quite caught on like J. Scott Campbell bikini covers.
I blew it. I missed it.
I don't know if you guys tried to buy this yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw, but these things went on sale on his store at 9 a.m. yesterday, and I believe sold out in 15 minutes, maybe less.
Yeah.
It says 4 minutes in the post.
Yeah. Okay. 4 minutes in the post. Thank you for that. Yeah. 4 minutes in the post. I didn't think that I would buy any, but I did log into his website like at 9:20 just to see where things were at. And
I did too. Which
is pretty insane, but I don't know, guys. Like, bikinis are back.
Did they ever leave? I mean, they're definitely back, but
I mean, the swimsuit special was definitely a thing, like back in the 90s,
right?
And they didn't have it for a long time, and so like now I think that they're bringing it back. And my theory on it is like, it's like
it sells.
Like, guys, it's hard to sell comic books these days. Nobody cares about stories. We got to go to the well, bring back the bikini issue. Here we go. And what do you know? Now people are buying it.
How fast did J. Scott Campbell leap out of his chair when he heard Marvel was doing a swimsuit special?
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. He actually had he put out this little video right here that I think Comic Tom did with him. But he was actually saying like, these days he actually jumps at opportunities to still draw Black Cat and Mary Jane because he just enjoys it so much. So
yeah, I kind
of feel like, when you get the opportunity, he's like, hey, swimsuit issue, Mary Jane. He's like I'm going to sell a bazillion copies. Let me please do this.
Yeah, I think I saw that too. I think he said he's honored to be associated with Spider-Man, but specifically the ladies and the Spider-Man ladies or whatever. So Black Cat's Mary Jane and Gwen, Spider-Gwen. So yeah, of course he's gonna. Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Which one do you guys think is the best one, or which is the one that's gonna be secondary market sells the most?
Probably the MJ and the Rogue.
I like I think I like the Magic one the best. I think it's the most unique.
Magic? Okay.
Yeah,
I do like that she's laying on the sword.
Like it's a surfboard almost. I think that's kind of cool.
My personal favorite is kind of the Black Cat one.
I think I like the look of that one best. I just think that's the most unique is the Magic one.
Yeah, I hear that. Wait, let's do a vote. Let's do a vote in the chat. Okay, here we go. In order. If you think Mary Jane is the best, put a 1 in the chat. If you think Black Cat,
you can actually
Magic, put a 3. Poll, right? If you think Rogue, put a 4.
He wants a bunch. He just wants the.
You can actually just run a poll, right? On YouTube.
How do you do the poll?
It's in your YouTube Live.
Oh, I'm not
in StreamYard.
I'm not going to do that unless there's a 1-click easy button.
No.
Let's just see what the number. To 2, 2.
Look at it. Here we go. It's coming in.
3.
All right, Manu. We got
a lot of 2s.
See Black Cat.
3,
People like Black Cat.
1, 2, 2, 2. MJ. All right. I think a lot of two. I think it's Magic and of the people who voted. I think it's Black Hat and Magic.
No Rogue. I didn't see any 4s.
Yeah, no Rogue.
I'm a little surprised by that.
She's
There we
just
go,
not
we
a
got-
popular character these days. Like I think
Yeah.
you have the Spider-Man factor right here, and then like Magic just I don't know. I feel like recently she's just become like
Rivals. I think
really-
because of Rivals too. Like,
Yeah.
I think she's pretty popular
Like
in
more popular.
Rivals.
All right, we got Ozzy right here with the 1, Sean with the 3, Bridget with the 2, Agent with the 1. Shout out to Brian Wednesdays, Brian McClay. What's going on, Brian? Mary Jane is the best. All right.
I mean, I agree, but I just thought the Black Cat cover was my favorite.
Yeah. I think it's a mix. I think it's a mixed bag. I mean, 1, 2, 3. It feels like Rogue did not get any votes. So
I think I only saw like 1.
if you're a flipper out there, there's your little focus group, to see which one you may want to pick up. But I don't know. It's crazy. J. Scott Campbell, I feel like, is just printing money.
All
with
right,
this
can we
stuff.
predict what he's going to do next? What's going to be the next J. Scott Campbell drop?
I mean, would he do more bikini covers?
Yeah,
I
swimsuit special
wonder.
part 2.
Is there?
Yeah,
a
because
part
it-
two? I mean, he did 2 Marvel Rivals, but
Well,
I
that's
think
what I
there
mean.
was
Yeah,
a
he did 2 Marvel Rivals.
there was a new Marvel Rivals book though that came out with, so that was
True.
associated with it.
Yeah, that's true.
So-
He probably will do more Rivals, but at the same time, like, yeah, this is just a special one shot that's coming out in July, I think. So yeah, he may not have the opportunity to do more, but feels like this is definitely a thing that you could keep rolling pretty easily.
But if he sells well enough, why couldn't he just do it again? Like, because I think John Tyler Christopher, like, he had the drop originally at, I think it was C2E2 for the Venom Mary Jane swimsuit one.
right,
And then he did like 2 other variant covers after the fact, and it's the same book. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how that works. It's like, can you keep trying to do the same book but with different covers? If it's successful, I don't know like the process for that.
right. I wanted to go back up here.
How much would the original arts of these go for?
Well, funny
They
that you
sell-
say that, because I think he's going to sell them. Like, I think
does.
if you
Really?
go to his,
He does.
let's see, actually.
How much
Original
this is? I'm not an original art person.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there's a
All right,
sketch.
so
Oh, they're
he
already
does
out.
have this for sale. He also, by the way, still has his Luna Snow and his Squirrel Girl for sale.
So
let's
how
take a
much is
look,
like
Mary
the
Jane.
MJ?
It's a contact.
That means you
But
can't
here you
afford
go.
it.
It
Yeah.
ain't gonna be cheap.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know why I want to say this, but he sold the Marvel Rivals original art, and I know that the Psylocke one went, and I feel like someone told me that it was 10K.
I was gonna say,
Like-
for most of these, they're probably between 5 and 10
Oh, here you go. So Brian says 10K. Ben says he asked 16. I've
for
asked.
every one. Oh, for that one.
I
Yeah,
can see
Ben.
the
Ben,
MJ
is it
getting
for
premium.
everyone, or is it for this Mary Jane one that you asked for? But that doesn't surprise me. I don't know. Which one is the best OA? I still kind of feel like maybe
I don't know. Black.
I think it's
Cat.
the MJ.
the MJ. Yeah.
There's more going on in the. It's
Yeah, there's
the
more
MJ's
in-
is so simple. Like it's. There's definitely a little bit more to the Magic and the Black Cat and even the Rogue one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not.
he's
I'm
not
not
really
that
looking-
surprised that he's getting probably close to 10K for all these though that he sells, or more. Obviously, if they're extremely popular. Oh yeah, the homage one, the homage ones for the ASM was at 601, 606, and 607 or something. I'm sure those were probably pretty
Yeah.
pricey because those went
Well, look-
crazy.
What's crazy is like look at how much more line work is in like a piece like this, or like a
Right.
piece like this,
Right.
compared to like when you buy
The
even just
right.
the boards. Like, there's like very little art. on
Right.
it.
Right.
which isn't a critique. It's just like clearly these pieces took him longer to do. Like you would think that these might be more expensive.
But it's all about the characters too, you know. It's like
Yeah, true. How it comes out, but yeah, pretty crazy. I don't know. It'd be cool to own it, but it would also only be cool to own it if they end up being like truly iconic pieces.
it ain't no first MJ is Venom artist proof. I'll tell you that.
They definitely aren't. They definitely aren't that. For sure. Marvelous Pack says he should do a swimsuit calendar. I think that'd be a fun throwback. Someone up here had a question I wanted to put out to you, Rob. OJ Pimpson says, have Neo talk about how long it took for the PSA 10 to murder the Beckett 9.5 in cards.
Oh, I didn't catch the beginning of the stream. Were you guys talking about Manu's post?
Yeah, we talked about Manu's post a little bit, and I guess what OJ is getting at is just like, you know, that's probably the only test case that we've sort of seen in the hobby of like, oh, what would happen if Swaggle Comics decided to start grading and I started putting 10 O's on all my comics? Would it eventually make the CGC 9.8 not look as good?
I mean, hot take. People like bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Lizard Brain always wins. But like in the card world, how do people, I mean, I feel like now PSA is probably just like the leader, right? But like, was there a point when like a 9.5 was like the same price as a 10?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, there's been back in the day, people used to crack PSA 10s to try to get BGS 9.5s. And like that would be insane now because a BGS 9.5 sells for like 40% less than a PSA 10.
Brian says BGS was the top dog for a while.
Yeah, Beckett was like top dog, and then like the gap between Beckett and PSA was a lot closer than like what it is today with PSA and Beckett. And then they kind of pulled even. And then at the beginning of I would say heading into the pandemic boom, they were probably close to being pretty even. And then it just exploded PSA's way. Because what happened, I think, this is just my theory, a bunch of new people came in and they're like, well, I want the 10. Why would I want a 9.5? Like when people were coming back in, new people coming in, they're like, well, why would I want a 9.5? That and Beckett's grading scale is super confusing anyway, because it's not just a 9.5. You have a 9.5 and then it has subgrades. So it's like, is it a true gem? So that means it has 4 9.5 subgrades. Is it a min gem? That means it has 2 9.5 or 3 9.5s and a 9 subgrade. Is it a true gem plus, which means it's 3 9.5s and 1 10 subgrade? And then if it gets 3 10 subgrades, it's just a Beckett pristine. So like their grading scale for a casual, I can't tell you how many times in YouTube comments I had to try to explain how Beckett's grading scale works and how the subgrades impact things. And the subgrades will impact the price. No 2 9.5s are created equal, which also makes things difficult for people. Like people just want simple. They really do.
100%.
Like they don't want to like argue over, well, the last one sold for 500, but it had 3 9.5s and a 9.
Right.
Mine has 3 9.5s and a 10, so mine's worth more. You know, and you look at a comping tool or like a Go Collect for cards, and it's just listing BGS 9.5 as a single category. It lumps them all together. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
They came close to switching off of it.
Buyers. Yeah. It's too confusing for buyers, and then also like it just creates friction for sellers to have to like deal with having to like move a thing where it's like, oh cool, like I got a 9.5, but oh shit, my corners are an 8, and now it's like a whole thing.
And it got more complicated because like Beckett 9.5 is their primary grade, kind of like a CGC 9.8. But then they had 2 grades above it. They had a pristine 10 and a black label 10. So like your most popular grade was your 3rd tier down.
So what's the difference between the what is it, the pristine and the black label?
Pristine 10 is 3 10 subgrades and a 9.5. And a black label is 4 10 subgrades.
Okay.
How frequent do cards get those black labels and all that stuff? Is it akin to 9899 to 10?
Loosely, yes. Sports cards, black labels are insanely hard. Like you're talking, decimal plate percentage points.
Right.
TCG, some TCG, you can actually, if you dig into Gemrate, who does all the pop report tracking, some TCGs actually you have a pretty legit chance to get a black label. Like I think One Piece grades out at like a 10 to 15% chance at a black label. The Dragon Ball Z TCG grades extremely well. So people will purposely submit cards to Beckett chasing black labels because they still get a huge premium. But then the Pristine 10 kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit. Like nobody really knows what to do with a Pristine 10. They kind of sell for about a PSA 10 now when they used to have a premium over PSA 10. Some still might, like strictly speaking, ultra modern. But a BGS 9.5 is just like literally 30 to 40% less of a PSA 10 in a lot of cases.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, like, again, to your point of just people wanting simple, like, even when I just think anecdotally of like friends or whatever, like, I can just imagine like showing comic grades to people and then looking at like, oh, here's a 9.8 and then here's a 10. And then just like asking me like, well, why would I buy the 9.8? And it's like, well, because like there's more prestige in this thing. It's like, yeah, but that's dumb. Like, I'll just get the 10.
And you respond, I know it's dumb.
Yeah.
Well, then take it a
Like,
level deeper. Like show someone a 9.9 and a 10.0. Like, are you really going to be able to tell the difference between those two books?
Oh, absolutely.
If it's something that glaring, it's going to be a 9.8.
Sometimes the 9.8's better. Dependent. But
and that's why, again, it should just be more simple. But we can't have those nice things. Shout out to Zealous right here. I like his comment. I passed on J. Scott Campbell's Marvel swimsuit specials, Friends, Foes, and Rivals #1. Just felt the swimsuit Campbell drew were a little on the tame side. Zealous needs like Miami Beach, Vegas party, crazy bikini swimsuit art.
if you're gonna sell it on eBay, you have to post a Post-it note over portions of the cover.
Yeah, you got to be able to blur out part of it. Just not enough.
Will Courtyard.io have a J. Scott Campbell blind bag that you could buy?
They would be smart to do that. I will say that. That definitely seems like now you're really using your head, right? You're combining the gambling with the Gooner.
What did you call the Gooner pack?
the Gooner Gambler pack. I mean, talk about Federal Reserve Drone Pal. Like we just turn on the printer, This is kind of interesting. I thought I'd pull it up. Like just the pre-sales, kind of what we were talking about earlier, Cam, where it's like,
oh, and now
drop comes out, sells
they don't
out
even have it yet,
instantly.
and they're promising CGC 9.8.
Yeah, promising the 9.8, sold already. And look at this. I mean, 139, 124. So I think if you bought the 2 set, it would have netted out to be probably like $55, I think, or something like that, or maybe 60.
I think
So,
the 4 set sold for about $250-ish.
Oh yeah, so 250. So like, and the 4 set from his website was 120, right? Something like that.
I think it's 140 something, but then there's shipping.
Shipping was expensive on it.
It was expensive. It was like put it to like 170. So then,
You're
and then you take out, and that's the thing, and then you're taking out fees from eBay. The margins were just not huge, so that's why I'm like, how much money am I going to keep tying up with this? So that's why I just like stopped.
Yeah, it was so it was 120 for 4 plus. Let's just call it $20 for shipping and tax. Yeah, so that's 140. If you sell it for 250, and you're knocking off at least 13% in eBay fees, 14 if you did free shipping or not. Like, all right, maybe you made
70. Yeah.
I mean, which is fine. I mean, it's not nothing. It's not terrible, and you get to like have it or whatever. But the problem is like that only works if you're willing to, I think, do what everyone here is doing, where they're literally selling the pre-sale, because like you're not going to get the books in hand until mid-July.
And I did it for the prior ones. I'm already paid for the John Tyler Christopher and then the last Marvel Rivals. I'm already paid for those, and I did pre-sale. And like, I think so the John Tyler Christopher one, I had the highest sale of all the ones pre-sale. So
Right.
I got mine in, I was the second to sell. And
Hmm.
so I made the most margin of anyone that had sold on eBay. And so like
Yeah.
I already got paid out by eBay. So I guess I could keep doing this, but at the same time, I've never done this before, so I'm gonna wait till I get the books and make sure, because I don't know, because I'm technically over the date pass for shipping, because you're supposed to ship within a certain window.
Yeah.
But and I had looked online, it's like as long as you put pre-sale and like you communicate with the buyer and put a date if you have that available, like it should be fine. But at the same, I just don't want to hit my eBay rating for like shipping late.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I don't
sure.
know.
Well, I'm sure the buyer. Yeah. I'm sure if you tell the buyer and it's clear to them, like, hey, you'll get it when it's fulfilled. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to complain. But yeah, it's just a lot to have to deal with. But I don't know. It definitely becomes a race to the bottom because it's like,
Yeah.
you know, you hear it's like $300. Like someone got, you know, the big first win with their sale, and then it goes to
225
and all this stuff. And if you go to like the Marvel, let's see, Rivals, J. Scott, like I don't even know if the 4 sets once they came in
those
hand, like,
continue to drop, especially the second one. I really made next to nothing on that. I made like $30 on that second drop. So
yeah, they're still here, $200. So it's like,
Yeah, after eBay fees,
hard to move
you're
them.
basically netting nothing.
Yeah, but you know,
I
it's
mean,
not up
that
to
the
Scott
swimsuit
Campbell
specials
to get flippers. You know,
in like a
It's not-
year in a CGC 9.8, what are those, like maybe $65-$70?
yeah. Shout out to Brian. He says, flipping new product in the comic world gets harder each day. It really does. And that's why I made the joke about it. It's like, dude, like you just got to go to like, I mean, bikini covers, all that stuff. I mean, even for J. Scott Campbell and like Marvel and stuff, that's why like even they have a hard time selling it, let alone the people that are trying to make margin on top of, you know, the retail sale.
And Ryan said it'll hit you on eBay rating unless the buyer gives feedback. So I'm glad.
Oh,
So I'm gonna harass the people that are buying this shit to give me make sure they put the shipping was good or whatever.
yeah. Derek says, I'm surprised eBay hasn't cracked down harder on pre-sales, especially when sellers don't actually get the item that already sold. Yeah, I think I would guess that eBay just doesn't have there's too many people doing it for them to like, you know,
Shut them all down
and like do the whole thing. But like,
well, and I think as long as the
I would
buyers
just be,
are okay with it and like continue to give good ratings and feedback, I guess, towards it, then they're probably okay with it.
Yeah. Personally, I definitely would shy away from them, especially the pre-screens, like the pre-screen 9.8s and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, that one I'm really not gonna dip into probably ever. Well, I don't even really submit. So
What's CGC's modern turnaround time at right now?
I couldn't even tell you.
well, let's find
Does
that
anyone
out.
even grade? Does anyone even grade anymore?
I'm like so hesitant on sending anything in at this point. So
Let's find out, shall we?
Aren't we due for a CGC scandal? I feel like it's been a while since they did.
it
something.
has. I think.
Well, I
we're
was
doing
talking about that earlier, Rob, when I was
the
just
custom
saying, like,
labels.
Or the DC thing or whatever. I
DC,
saw that
yeah.
floating around. Well, I mean, technically, they're partnered up with Courtyard on this thing too.
yeah. So currently, their turnarounds right now are 30 days, 20 days with fast track. So it's not that bad. They've definitely been worse. There's a time for a while like the turnarounds were awful.
Yeah.
Especially in the vintage. I guess 55 days is still kind of a long time if you're doing vintage. But
The signing I
CGC
did
has
took
been
forever.
relatively scandal free for CGC for kind of a while.
I think they're due.
Until maybe this week when there'll be something interesting for us to discuss with it. But I think it's been a good year for them by and large because it's been quiet. You know, I think like that's what you probably want from a grading company is to just like not mess things up. But it could be that it's there's just that few people sending stuff in for grading that like they just haven't messed up because there's just really not that many people that are grading like they used to.
I think I saw a post recently of somebody sent in like 10 books though, and every single book had the banana bend still. Like I think I saw that this week.
Yeah, well, you know, Kevin, I don't know if you guys know the Comic Doctor, his YouTube channel, but Kevin over there, he's a presser, so he's constantly getting books, and he told me that like he still sees the banana bend all the time, like it's all the time. So I think people have just kind of moved on and just like are not talking about it and just accepting it. But yeah, it's not gone away.
Wild to me.
Yeah.
Like
That's another reason I don't want that.
Yeah, I know it's crazy, but this is one of the reasons why like I don't like having being in the 9.8 and 9.9 and 10.0 grading space. Like I don't like having to like send in a New Mutants 98 and I'm trying to get a 9.8 with it.
Right.
Like, I don't like that. I'd rather just be in that like I have a Fantastic Four 48 and it's a 7.0. And like if it comes back with a banana bend, like who cares? Like, but that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we got another person hopping on the stream. We got Brian.
What's up?
What's going on, Brian?
What's up, guys? I'm just getting home. I'll cam up here in a second here, just getting my cigar ready.
All good.
How you guys doing?
good.
Doing good.
Doing well. You're just kind of going over the news. What's going on with you?
Just getting home. Nice little Father's Day for my pops, so it was nice.
Nice.
You guys?
Yeah, I gave my dad a call. You know, they're up in the.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh, speaking of like comics and dads, so my dad didn't collect comics as a kid, but my dad collected comics when I started collecting comics. So we both collected together at the same time. So that was really
Nice.
fun. So I collected Ultimate Spider-Man and he collected New Avengers. So just, I don't know, like when because he'd be the one taking me. And so he had his little list of New Avengers, and then I think he just did it more to just because I was into the collecting the Spider-Man stuff. So, but it just, and he still has those books. I still have all my books from when I was a kid. So it was fun. It just like added fun to it. So
That's cool. You know, it's a funny story about my dad. So my dad got me and my brother into comic books, like took us to like the comic book store back in the day. And then, you know, he's always liked comic books and likes watching the Marvel movies and all that stuff, but like obviously didn't collect comics. And then flash forward, as I start my YouTube channel, I don't tell my dad like right away that I'm doing a YouTube channel, of course, like I'm just, you know, doing it. And then eventually, like, I think I tell my sister that, and then she ends up mentioning, oh yeah, Mickey, you know, he's doing this YouTube thing and blah, blah, blah. So my dad starts watching my channel and he actually starts to get into it. And then like he starts to get FOMO over books. And then my dad started being like, well, I kind of want to go back to a comic book store. And then I found out that he was buying comic books. And then I got mad at him because I was like, do not pay these LCS prices.
Right.
You know? And I was just telling him, like, every time you buy something, you have to call me and I have to make sure, I have to vet that it's an actual price you should be paying.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did he ever go into an LCS and like just his negotiating point was, don't you know who my son is? I'll have him roast your store.
They probably charge him more. But yeah, Brian, what's going on? Well, I didn't get a chance to watch the show last night, but I think I saw that you guys were talking about Heroes Con, which I think is like the next big show coming up this coming weekend. What's kind of like the pre-conversation going into that? Anything interesting?
You know, Heroes Con is so far away from me that like it's kind of like I stay away from it a little bit because most of the guys who are on the West Coast that, you know, I talk to don't go, which is a bummer because it's one of the best shows in the country by far, you know?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, there's always, you know, unfortunately, the whole drama atmosphere with it. I hear a lot of people complaining that they feel like Heroes Con this year is just an influencer con, which is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, because it's one of the biggest creator cons there is. It's always been known for that. So to start calling it an influencer con feels kind of disingenuous.
Can you unpack that? Like why? Because I don't know. Like what is the influencer con aspect to it?
So I think, and I'm not 100% sure, as the reason why it's being called that, but well, it's being called that because there's a bunch of influencers that are going there, right? There's a bunch of content creators that people are calling influencers now, that are going. And at the same time, I think that there was a little bit of something that happened at Dallas where there's kind of like people are on notice about how influencers are kind of mucking up the water when it comes to autographs and stuff like that. Showing up, showing up at tables with, 200, 400 books to sign when people just want a couple of books each. Type
It was
deal,
it was Otley, right, for Invincible.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's for people in the chat, like a little bit of context. Like I think at Dallas Fan Expo, Ryan Otley was doing signatures, and one of the kind of conversations, at least that I caught in the Facebook group, was like there was people that were bringing literal like wheelbarrows of like short boxes of comics to be signed. Like imagine going up to Ryan Otley's booth and having like 400 comics that you want him to sign, and people just being like upset about it because obviously this is going to take Ryan however long it takes him.
Right.
So it holds up the line. And then in theory, it could just be like, well, I guess I sold out, guys. So anyone in line,
see you
go
next
home
time
now. And then it kind of opens up that whole conversation of like, what is really the point here with like what's trying to being done? Is this supposed to be like a fan meet and greet? Is this supposed to be just be like an artist's way to make money? And it's like, it's no different to them if someone wants to pay them 400 times for signatures. I mean, cool, great. They get their money. Like, and so I guess that's kind of what you're getting at, Brian, where it's like influencers showing up or like whatnot streamers who are going to like flip a bunch of books. They're going to go to Heroes Con. They're going to get whatever exclusive and they're going to flip it on their stream. And they're taking up everyone else's opportunity to, get signatures. So I guess that's the context. I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
I think what's interesting is the term influencer has in the comics world and collectible world has kind of become this what is the word I'm looking for, the sellers the live sellers, right, is kind of like all the whatnot people, the people selling on IG live sales, the people selling on eBay live. That's become the shoe-in for the term influencer, right? And a lot of those guys now, the way to do it is to go to cons. You have a couple of retailer exclusive variants that you're dropping that weekend, and then you're going to the con to get autographs from artists who are there. So people who aren't, and this is a good thing in my opinion, so people who aren't at the con can get those books, right? They pay a premium for them. They're not having to go fly out to the con. They're not having to pay for the autograph. They're not having to stand in line. So you pay a premium for them, but you're getting what you want, which is okay to me. What's not okay is now, because these live sellers who make a ton of money off of selling autographs are showing up with, 20 or more books, 20 to, listen, we were hearing 450 books at Dallas.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. There is a way to, if you're a retailer now, and there's a lot of people over the last 5 years who have got into the quote unquote online retailing, world as just jumping in it and never having any, business background, never owning a comic store, never having a comic business. So they become a retailer and then they think, okay, this is how it's done. Well, for most retailers in the game, if they're going to get autographs at a con, they work it out with the artist or creator
preemptively.
To do something on the side, right? I got 400 books. Let's meet up at wherever the creator says and get those books signed. That's how it plays out. So a lot of these people don't know that because they're new or they're just,
I think Scaff has done that because I think he's worked with the artist where he's actually setting something up on the side. So it's not affecting everyone else that's like trying to get, you know, their couple books signed and meet the creator and everything. Because I'd be pissed. Like when I go to a con, I want to meet these couple creators and get their signature and whatever and talk to them for a minute, you know, because like I'm very passionate and like I love their work, and you know, and some of these stories like date back to when I was a kid, and like it affected, you know, my life for whatever reason, because I love these stories and or just my collecting in general as a kid. And so I like, to me, and that's why I like signatures. I really only do signatures in person because that's, you know, that's a story for me. And I can look at, so right now my wall is only signature books, and it's all these that I've met in person except for the Delata one. It's the only one I've ever done. And because I, you know, this is like an event for me to meet them and talk with them and share online and all that. So yeah. And if I was the creator personally, I wouldn't allow it. I'd say, hey, and obviously they're going to want to make money, but I would say, hey, you're just going to have to wait. You know, we can work something out, but you're going to have to wait, because you don't even want to screw all these other people over just because one guy brings 400 and some books to, you know, the line. So
yeah, it's weird. It's like I think it depends a lot on like who the artist is and who the creator is. Like obviously, if you're Todd McFarlane, you can probably take a stance of like, guys, I'm only going to do 2 something. Like,
right.
Whatever. But if you're like some other artist where you're like, and this is probably a very specific situation, but like, let's say you're that hot artist, like you're that Peach Momoko, that first con when they're blowing up. Mm-hmm. Like that's when that person is going to roll up to you and be like, can you sign 400 books? And for you, this is like a new big thing. And I'm sympathetic to them because it's like, hey, this is a nice little payday.
Right.
So like to them, they're kind of like, yeah, I'm down to like sign as many as you want. So I think in that artist, it's like, I understand what's happening there, but like a Todd McFarlane or whoever, it's like you should put like a hard cap on it. And I think artists have to just understand what is happening.
Right.
And this is something like Brian, to like last week, I remember Nerdy Girl, shout out to Danielle. She made that post that she ended up taking it down because it was like, probably because like the comments were so passionate, but she brought up this idea of like, I think it was at Dallas Fan Expo where there was someone who was charging more to retailers. I think it was like Tom DeFalco was going to charge, if you're a retailer getting like say 5+ books signed, his price was more expensive. And then she kind of brought up that question of like, does that make sense? You know, and it's the whole thing. And I think we're just in a world now where like, we've had things like Whatnot. We had COVID comics craziness. We have all these live selling platforms. Signature books have become a huge market. So many new online retailers are like in this space. And I think before it was novel to a lot of the artists, and they were like, cool, like, yeah, you're going to flip my work and you're going to sell it on your Whatnot stream, whatever. And I think now it's just like gotten the point where like, I think they know what's happening. And I bet they feel when people are getting autographs, they just instantly know like, okay,
this is immediately going to, right.
Yeah, who likes my work, and then this person is like gonna just go to their Whatnot stream.
Yeah, setting the books down and not talking. It's a stack.
Yeah. So
well, here's the other part of that. In the past, creators, quote unquote, needed, you know, they kind of needed the retailer because the retailer had a brick and mortar store. They had a spot where they could facilitate the signature. They had the customers. Now with Shopify, Whatnot, eBay Live, Kickstarter, creators don't need retailers anymore.
Yeah.
They just don't. So they can do all that on their own. So that's the other thing. Like I see that becoming the norm where creators start charging more to retailers because they know retailers are going to be selling them and making a bunch of money off of them. That's in their head. Is it right? I don't necessarily know, but they're going to start thinking that because they can just do everything else on their own. What do they need the retailers for? You know?
Yeah.
Why don't you see more artists just doing it themselves? Like, was that Liefeld that did live selling not too terribly long ago?
Yeah, on his own Whatnot. Yeah.
Like, why isn't it like? J. Scott Campbell going live on Whatnot or eBay Live and be like, okay, here's the MJ book up for sale. This one I'll do a signature and a quick sketch on. We'll start bidding at $1.
I think a lot of it's platform too. Like if you like, it might not make sense for a lot because they might not get a big enough platform where it would make more or even as much as if they were just to go to a con. And then and it does take the work. Like it does take, like, social media isn't for everyone. Not everyone's great at social media where they can really excel at it and promote themselves to be able to, you know, be successful and be, you know, more profitable in a sense where they could just go to a con and make some decent money. So and maybe it's energy too. Like, some people just might want to not do a show and they just like, I don't know, I'm not into this, I don't like this. I think it's a lot of it's dependent on the
I mean, at that point, why not just hire a hype man? Like, okay, I'm the artist. I don't want to necessarily perform on the live stream.
Yeah.
But I have a camera over my desk and Swaggle is my hype man.
See, and that would make more sense.
Well, that's
100%.
Like Swaggle's running the room and like, okay, here's what we got coming up next, everybody. And then I'm just over there concentrating on whatever it is that I got to do. And there's a cam like looking down at my desk.
It definitely happens.
Well,
but why doesn't it more, I guess?
Here's the interesting thing, and Swag, you're probably going this way, so I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder. I've talked to quite a few retailers recently. I'm talking big retailers in comic world, like top 5 retailer type guys that just have huge warehouses full of stuff, right? I don't know if you guys saw Darren Hutchinson at Unknown Comics do the State of the Union of his company, and he talked about how he has a warehouse full of 4 million books waiting to be sold. They're in unopened diamond boxes. So there's multiple retailers out there like that. They're getting those hype men from content creators, right? Like who was I talking to the other day? I was talking to somebody the other day. They were talking about how Collecting with Durs, is that his name, that he does something with?
I think I've heard that name. I think I have heard that. Yeah.
He's doing something with a retailer, like these retailers, and it's been happening for a while, but I think that's going to happen more often because you've got these retailers that have these huge warehouses that they need to start getting rid of. So you're going to see them start picking up hype men too.
Yeah. It's super interesting. So I guess bringing it back to Heroes Cons and to put it to bring back to what you were saying, Brian. So you're kind of feeling like there's a lot of people that are seeing the sausage being made and kind of feeling like, is this what the Comic Con has evolved to? Like this sign and live selling and get your
and exclusives. Is there probably a ton of exclusives?
Heroes Con doesn't really do. I mean, unless something changed this year, I've gone for like the last 3 years, and I don't think they've had a single exclusive issue in the last 3 years that I've gone. At least none that I remember.
Okay.
Well, I get the sense from the chat, Rob, that it has changed a little bit in that like Steel Cartel was saying, shout out to him. He was saying like Heroes Con has one of the best creator lineups, I think, of the year this year. And then someone was saying like there's going to be like, I don't know if they were being facetious, but Bridget still says Heroes will have 600 exclusives.
He may have been facetious.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
But maybe not.
But right.
Heroes Con doesn't. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they are this year, but in the past they never have. I unfortunately can't go this year because it's the same weekend as Fanatics Fest, so I had to choose between one or the other, and I was not happy about making that choice. But
where's Heroes at?
Charlotte.
Which one's Heroes? Where's that one at?
Charlotte.
North.
Oh, Charlotte.
North
Carolina. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Heroes Con's great. So like I can't say enough good things about Heroes Con. I mean,
I'd love to go.
Here's how big Heroes Con is. CGC does on-site grading there now. And how many shows does CGC do on-site grading at?
Yeah.
They did it last year for the first time out. I think other than San Diego and New York. Do they do on-site at San Diego?
For some reason, I thought they did it at WonderCon this year, but I could be wrong. I feel like
they did.
Walking around.
I think I saw that.
I saw CGC booths that said on-site grading, but I could have been, mistaken.
I remember Heroes. It was a big deal last year because it was their first time doing on-site post-COVID anywhere.
Derek says Baltimore. I think that they probably don't do it at San Diego because maybe it's a little too busy.
Too
But yeah,
Well, it's
Disney's
probably a
that way.
pain for them to get the equipment out there too because they're in Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. Interesting. I mean, we'll have to see. Yeah, like everyone says, the Heroes Con is like the best con. It's the best place to go to buy comic books. Feels like this is going to be a big year at Heroes Con, and yeah, we'll definitely report.
Here's the
whatever
big
happens.
thing. You know, we talk about all this stuff as being problems, quote unquote problems or drama or something, or like we're like this is an issue. Smart retailers are making a lot of money right now. There are guys who are doing extremely well. So, you know, there are a lot of up and coming new retailers, new brick and mortar store owners that over the last 5 years have, you know, created a nice little, you know, community brick and mortar store, old school style store. There's a lot of really good online retailers and live sellers that are doing very well right now. At con retailers, every retailer I talked to at Dallas said it was like positive sales wise. So that's the weird thing, right?
I think you know what it is. I think it's just it's what is it called? Like Pareto principle, right? Where it's just like the 80-20. Like I think that we were in that time when like it was so easy to like do well in comics, right? You could just flip anything.
Literally.
And then now if you're extremely disciplined, extremely hardworking and knowledgeable, and you have a successful retail company, like you're still crushing it if you're working really hard. But the retailers that maybe weren't on point, that were just like kind of coasting through stuff, it's like, yeah, like now it's the easy mode is over. So for them, they're feeling like, oh, this is like, it's hard now, you know. But speaking of creators, I thought this was kind of interesting. I don't know how much there is to mine in this, but shout out to Frank Miller. He's got his next amazing cover coming out. The funny thing about this one is it's like this is kind of like one of the better,
right? Comparably,
like one of the better, like not recent work that he's done. And on top of that,
Marvel Topps Chrome comes out tomorrow.
Oh, the cards. That's right.
Oh yeah, I was
right here. So yeah, like
sketch cards are a big chase in it.
Those look like when I was like first learning
Frank
to
Miller,
draw.
the legendary comic book artist Frank Miller, makes one of one Marvel sketch cards, and you know, they are sketches.
They are sketches.
Are you gonna?
Miller is by
are you gonna get any of these? Rob, are you gonna pick up any of these?
I'm gonna try to track down a box. They sold out on Topps. They did a drop where you had to like basically enter a lottery to get boxes, and I did not win. So I'm gonna try to find one locally tomorrow to open because it needs to come out tomorrow. So.
I swear to God, every time I try and draw Spider-Man's head, it's like wonky and like not right. Like it looks just like that.
This is what it looks like when I try to draw.
Right, because I can't draw. So,
I mean, like, do you think it's funny? Like every time like people post about this Frank Miller stuff, and you read the comments, it's like people are defending it. Like, I'm sorry, like.
Dinesh,
it's not good.
Dinesh
it's not
likes
good.
it, right?
Like, I mean, he's Frank Miller, so they're special because he's still drawing them. But like, it's not good. Like I like
Nerdy Girl's comment at the top.
What's that?
What's it say?
Nerdy Girl's comment right at the top. It's just like
y'all.
Yeah.
We just don't need to pretend like these are amazing,
right?
But they're still special.
Are any of them good? I mean, like if you look at them, do any of them stick out?
In a good way, or
just in a good way? In a good way. I don't see any that stick out in a good way, other than maybe the Silver
Surfer. This Spider-Man right here. Like if I went to Frank Miller and had 5 minutes with him, and he just did a quick sketch for me, it'd be like, cool, he did.
The Thor up top, the side profile of the Thor is pretty decent.
Yeah, like a remark. And that's the thing. How quick did he do all these? Were these like?
I don't know.
How long did it take him to do this whole set? I wonder.
I don't know. Needless to say, if I pull one of these, it'll be going to eBay as fast as humanly. This will not be a PC item, shall we say.
No.
What do you
So
think?
these are in the top set. Like, what's the story behind the top set that's coming?
It's
Just like
Topps' first mainline release since they got the license.
right. They took it over from Upper Deck.
Upper Deck. Yeah.
And then so this is their big drop. And are they gonna just like shotgun like a million products onto the market, or is this kind of like a once in a year thing?
So far, they've only dropped 2. They did an X-Men 97 set like right at the beginning of the year, and then now there's this one. So it's only been 2 releases in 6 months. So it's not too terribly bad. Upper Deck was doing like 5 releases a month there for a hot minute because they knew they were losing the license.
It's been his style, but this is so off.
It's
This
his
isn't
style,
like-
but it's just it looks like someone's trying to do his style that
Yeah,
isn't very
it's
good.
like it's not. Yeah, it's
that's the
you can
point.
Yeah, you can
I mean,
see
how
just
old
it
is
just
he
doesn't
now?
have the fidelity that he used to have.
How old
with
does he
his-
look? How old does he look in that picture? This is gonna blow you guys away. How old Frank Miller is?
He's not
This one?
crazy old. He's not crazy old. He looks much older than he actually is.
And I'd say like 70.
I don't think
You're
he
close.
is.
He's 68.
He looks like he's
Yeah.
in his 80s in
Right.
this photo.
He looks like he's in his 90s, bro.
Now, to be fair, if Brian wouldn't have like prefaced me with that, I probably would have said older, but
Right.
How old is he?
68.
Oh wow, yeah.
And he's been looking rough for a while. He had a really rough bout with alcohol.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
I mean,
It-
not too many people sell their fastball at 68. Like, whatever, I guess.
Well,
No,
Mickey,
true.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say I don't know if you remember this. I think it was one of the cons we had met up at when I lived in LA. He was going to the bathroom, like taking a bathroom break, and somebody was harassing him on the way to the bathroom with like a stack of stuff, and like bodyguards had to like push the guy aside and be like
Crazy.
no, get the hell out of here. And then so he went in the bathroom, and then I see this guy like rifling through stuff, like trying to get it ready. And like I think he was gonna try and do it as he was gonna come back out of the bathroom. I'm like, this is just not okay.
Just
That's
no
what it
shame.
was like following Swags around New York Comic Con last year. Just trying to have a conversation with him, and just people were just coming up left, right, and center. I'm like, holy shit.
I wish, dude. Like, imagine if what I could sell my one-of-one chase card set for with that audience. Yeah, that was a good show back in the day, man. That was the days. Torpedo Con.
Yeah.
I had a couple Frank Miller signatures. I don't have them anymore though. Too bad. But yeah, that was
The Sienkiewicz. You had Sienkiewicz.
I had Sienkiewicz, some remarks. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the one where he actually got ink all over it, right, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, they stacked the books on top of each other and smeared it. And it was a thing, but it worked out.
you sell them all? Get rid of them?
Yeah. Over the years, I sold them. So.
I'm in
But,
that
it
mode.
was cool. I had a double signed with Frank Miller and Sienkiewicz on a
Yeah.
Moon Knight book that they both did.
That was sweet.
Did you have a wagon barrel full of 400 of them when you got them?
No, I should have.
Maybe
I
you
could have,
did.
like-
You're just slowly leaking them out to play coy. You don't want to catch the backlash.
When you go out to eBay and you search Frank Miller signatures, you'll notice that the account that sells them all is Swaggle S.
Well, you were smart. You probably created like 5 different eBay accounts to slowly.
Yeah, they
Slowly
keep
move up.
shutting me down for violating policies, but like Hydra, you cut off the head and 2 more pop up.
Sell them through a consigner.
Well, fellas, been going about 90 minutes. Feel like it's been a good run. I've run out of news topics. What else is going on in the comic book world these days?
Have you guys
Let me ask you, content creator wise, Brian and Rob. I mean, Rob, you have a wealth of card stuff to talk about, but I don't know.
Did you?
I feel
I didn't catch it. Did you actually talk about the repack nonsense or not?
Well, no, I didn't talk about it because I planned on making a video about it later on this week. But actually, we can talk about it because no one's going to watch this far. But why don't you get into it? Because maybe actually, while Brian is here, I'd love to hear what he thinks about this. But give everyone
if you
like a
want
little
slot
preview.
machine that spits out comic books, then this is the product for you.
Yeah, you know about this, Brian?
No.
you know about Courtyard.io?
No.
Can you pull up like
All
their
right.
actual website, Swags?
Oh no. Is it
TLDR.
like a
Let's do
fulfillment
it.
service?
Here.
Pull up. Can you pull up Courtyard's actual website?
Yeah, I will.
This is interesting. CGC.
Oh, just
Yeah,
wait.
so they're coming out with this announcement this week. But this is Courtyard's website here.
Oh,
So
wow.
they sell repacks for sports cards, all graded. You basically go to the vending machine tab, Swags. So what do you want to rip? Except replace these with and I don't know how this is going to work because they haven't formally announced yet. They did a teaser. But I had heard about this a while back and confirmed it with multiple sources. So would you like to rip $1,000 Marvel Silver Age repack that, click on that real quick.
Hell yeah.
And then you can see the
$1,000, let's
breakdown
go.
of the expected value for that $1,000 pack.
So it's like mystery
essentially-
boxes, but
So
So
what
you open this,
yeah.
it's a digital, it's all online, but it's a physical item. So let's say this is a comic book, and let's say it's whatever, the Marvel version, and you open it and you hit a New Mutants 98, and maybe you don't like New Mutants 98. Well, guess what? They'll instantly offer you 90% buyback of fair market value on whatever you open to immediately pull a crank again. And again, and again, and again.
what the?
Yeah.
This is wild.
Are these guys out of Vegas?
No.
They should
Oh.
be.
Yeah, so it's they I guess they just acquire inventory. They mint their inventory on a blockchain so that they keep track of it, and then they just create these digital packs that you could rip. So in theory, you're owning the NFT version of the comic that you actually own. But yeah, because of this the system, it's going to make it so easy to just kind of gamble and resell your shit and do this.
Oh,
whole
and this
thing.
is so this is even completely digital. So
You can have the item shipped home. You actually get, like, if you say
you
you
could,
get
yeah,
New Mutants 98,
you could have it shipped to you, but
and
the
it's
whole
CGC
interface.
98, it goes into their vault, and you can have it shipped home if you want. Or
okay.
you could list it on their marketplace and sell it individually. But their shtick is on these digital repacks for cards is that most of them instantly offer you a 90% buyback offer. If you
Does that
don't like
90%
it-
buyback go into the future? Like, what if you hold your card and that card goes up? Will they instantly give you 90% of that?
That I think the 90% buyback is only good at present, but don't quote me on that.
I mean, that would make sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Be cool.
So,
if they did that.
anyways,
But if you ever
this
wanted to
little,
unlock the infinite money glitch, they have done
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And
I'm
Pokemon
sure.
cards.
I'm sure.
so
Because they acquire the item, they put it in a digital repack, they sell it to you. Maybe it's slightly less than the $1,000 price. They buy it back from you for 90%, and then what happens to that item? It immediately goes back into another digital repack to be sold to somebody else,
For someone else, yeah.
and then just
Yeah.
times that by 1,000,000.
Yeah, that's like mystery box on crack.
So
right, it's literally like synthetic CDOs where it's like your $1,000 ASM 300 is all of a sudden being multiplied by 20x. So it's like creating $20,000 of value because it's being traded 20 times,
Right.
from repacking.
That's wild.
Swag, I sent you a link in the private chat if you want to pull that up real quick. So before he opens this, what's your guess on, because Courtyard's done this for about 6 months now, big time in cards. What's your guess on their monthly sales volume?
Who are you asking?
Just anyone, either one of you, Cam,
Dude, I
Brian,
have no
whoever.
clue.
Like how much money are they bringing in a month? Not profit, just pure sales.
How long have they been doing it now for?
They've been around for about a year and a half, but they really started pushing at the end of 2024, like with
Oh, it's
marketing.
got to be. Well, oh, that's interesting. I have no idea, but I'd love to hear.
Click.
Alright.
Well, because it's an NFT and it's all on the blockchain, it's all tracked, so you know exactly how much.
Right.
So scroll down there, Swags. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Right up, back up. That one right there. That is their monthly sales volume.
What does it say? I can't see.
50 million.
50 million.
The cards world is wild, man. This is
So far this
crazy.
month, what is that so far this month? They've done 21 million in
They've done 21 million this month.
So they're on a down month. They're
Oh.
only going to do like 42 million this month.
Yeah, that's quite the dip.
Yeah. So
And let's assume
man.
they're making roughly 10 to 15% off any transaction.
So yeah, and then so just to make it clear, Brian, CGC did a post with Courtyard.io a couple days ago that says something heroic is coming 6/17. So I think their official announcement. By the way, if it wasn't clear, when you rip the packs, they're always graded. There's no raw cards, so they need CGC involved in this. So I guess this is the official CGC, and comics are coming to their platform.
And what I'm assuming on the CGC partnership is that it's a marketing deal. I don't think it's like anything more than that, because they do the same thing with PSA for cards. Like I will get emails that are sent through PSA's mailing list from Courtyard.io because they basically did like a co-branding deal with them. And I'm assuming it's going to be the same for comics.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's scary.
That is crazy. Now, this makes me feel so old. I feel like in the comic industry.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Cam froze.
Okay, froze. Yeah, no, it is interesting because I think the card world is more suited to like just doing this kind of thing, like ripping and sort of the degen gambling aspect. So we'll see if it sticks amongst comic people, but if it does, it's going to be interesting.
Do you think that there'll be was there an outcry from retailers when these guys first started getting big at all?
No, they love them.
Wow.
Dealers love them.
Because they just
when you say retailers, do you mean like dealers or?
Yeah.
No, because here's the thing. Courtyard by most standards is small. Arena Club, which does the same thing, is bigger. And then there are traditional physical repacks. So like Breakers will sell a repack, but it's physical. Like they're taking what do I got later?
Like
they're taking the card and then they're packaging it up in their own fancy packaging and physically opening it on camera in front of you.
Yeah.
So you don't have like the velocity of money flowing through it, but repacking is so big that it's caused a massive need for inventory, because you need inventory to fill the repack. Because the physical ones aren't doing instant buybacks on it. They're in most cases shipping the physical good to the person. But you need inventory. You need fresh inventory to fill these up. So like at a card show, for example, I was at a card show a month ago in the middle of nowhere, Indiana. And I would be willing to bet repackers spent between probably $400,000 and $600,000 on a Friday buying inventory.
Wow. So do you think that could happen in comics?
That's the golden question.
I feel like comics is such a different, I mean, it's similar in that, you have the secondary market value and, of how collectible it is. But I feel like it's, I don't know, man. That's interesting. I'm going to be very keen to keep an eye on that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a little bit of a bigger leap, I think, for collectors to like get into this type of thing, but it'll be interesting to watch. I mean, we'll see what happens. That's for sure. It's certainly, I think that anyone who buys the Whatnot packs, I think, might have interest in this.
Yeah. I mean, can you, Still Cartel asked about like your chances of winning more than your bid. Can you still have that Courtyard website pulled up where it showed the breakdown of the expected value?
Let's see.
No, go to the actual Courtyard left tab. Yeah, there you go. Click vending machine and then click on whatever. Just pick one. Yeah. So right there. So you have a 50% chance of hitting something 500 to 750. And then you have a 0.07% chance of what is that, $8,000 to $16,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine you're buying into a $1,000 comic repack, and the chaser is like, I don't know, what would that be? Like a 1.5 AF-15?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like a prize comic.
Said another way, you basically have a 30% chance to break even. That's basically how I'm interpreting these numbers.
Or better, even or better.
Or better, even or better. Yeah.
Yeah. And a 70% chance that you're losing something. And your floor value is 500. So you have a 49% chance that you're losing half your money.
Yeah.
Which is better odds than a Vegas slot machine. I'll give them that.
I mean, it's true. It's true, you know.
Wow.
So
I could
we'll
see that
see.
happening for comics where there's a site like that. Totally. So I could see them. I think it's a smart move. A lot of people will keep it in their vaults, I think. And with a lot of new collectors from the card sector, I think it'll be easy for them to jump over into something like that.
I wonder how many people that are on there degenning in the Pokemon and sports cards would be like, oh yeah, let's rip one of these comic book packs, see what that's all about.
I think that there definitely would be
is.
people that would do it for sure. Because it's like a lot of people like, you know, if it's like $1,000 pack, hey, win an ASM 300 9.8, you know, like I think a lot of those people would be open to that, who and maybe they just don't like have like the wherewithal to like get it in, you know, like from an actual Comic Con or a dealer, or they don't really know where to look in that space. You know, it's getting vintage comics kind of like has a high barrier to entry, but like in this format, if you're someone just coming from the card world, it's kind of easy and you're like, I can rip a pack and maybe I can get that. Cool. I can see them doing it for sure.
I also look at it this way. Like if you're a card guy, especially a sports card guy, you know, TCG guys or people are already like this, but if you're a sports card person, and there was always that saying that Spider-Man is going to pull his ACL. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Charizard doesn't play an ACL.
Yeah. So,
you're not doing this really for investment. This is just more for you just want to degen,
totally
gamble on something, basically.
Yeah.
Like you're not. Yeah. Even the people that are ripping these for cards, I don't know, are necessarily air quote collecting them. They're just trying to hit a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
With like a better floor value than a scratcher, because at least you're getting something, even if you're taking a 50% haircut. But to Swag's point from earlier, though, you know, us card people, we're used to going over and buying, you know, I got boxes of cards sitting down there for $500 a box, opening it and getting $20 in value back.
Yeah,
like that's just kind of normal, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah,
you know, so that's why the repacks have been so popular, because it's just like you can only get punched in the face from Topps and Panini so many times, and you're like, oh wait, I lost 50% value, but at least like I have this cool something to show for it.
I got a question for you. What do you think about that whole? So we talked about this on a show the other night, it might have been last night, where I saw that Panini bought one of the old school Mickey Mantle autographed cards from Score, right? Cut it in half and put it in their National Treasures set. Do sports card guys, are they okay with that?
You'll hear a little bit of pushback, but not a ton. Most people are just fine with it because that's pretty commonplace.
Wow.
I mean, because we'll get cards with like game used jerseys from like Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, and it's like at some point in time someone took that jersey and cut it up, or like pieces of a game used bat, or whatever. It's just like on the comic cards where you have comic cuts where they cut up an AF-15 and flip it into a card. You know, it was a huge chase in Spider-Man Metal a couple years ago. Those cards sold for. I mean, I used to have debates with people on stuff like that, on like, what would you rather have? Because like the comic cut cards for like AF-15 sold for more than what like an AF-15 sold for, because it was a 101.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's it's crazy. I don't know. My thought process was, and I think a lot of people thought this on the show last night, I'd rather have a shitty condition Mickey Mantle Score autograph card than a you know, a cut Mickey Mantle, but the price and the value in it is 10 times, 100 times value than the Mickey Mantle scorecard. What are those Mickey Mantle scorecards? A couple $100. probably.
Yeah,
and
I don't
then-
know off the top of my head. Probably more than that, but still, I get your point. Your point stands true.
Yeah.
Of, like, it's probably worth less than what this newfangled thing is.
Yeah, and it's a cut card. It's crazy.
Well,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, it's just like the repack. I can all of a sudden sell a $500 comic book for $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the question is, like, if you're willing to spend $1,000 on a pack, why not just buy the $500 comic book instead of doing the pack? But that's just not how people's
Just
brains
bags,
work.
It could be a $3,000 comic book.
I know. You're right. You have the chance. And yeah, I think on this platform, because it's so clean and so instant, that's where it really gets people. Like, I mean, like, the fact that you can sell it back instantly, I mean, like, that in and of itself is going to be a value add to people, right? Because it's like, cool, I don't got to deal with shipping or like have to like wait to get my money back. At least I get $5 back like instantly, like that's going to push people to do it more. So yeah,
Eggplant nails it. It's like the what's behind door number 3.
Yeah.
In the comments, he's like, it could be a boat. It's like, it's what's behind door number 3.
Could be a boat. Could be a boat. All right, well, gentlemen, maybe we can kind of wrap it up. What anything else on your minds these days, and collecting land, comic land? Any other news or things to throw out?
I'm sad to miss Heroes Con, and I think it's going to be a busy week in the content space.
I agree. What about you, Brian? You got anything going on this week or anything to promote?
I think San Diego coming is going to be a big deal over the next, couple weeks. I've got a bunch of, I do what I do every year before San Diego. I sell a bunch of stuff to pay for my trip. So I've got sales on both platforms, Whatnot, eBay Live. I've got this guy for sale right here. Nice 7.5 signed by Lynn Ween and Herb Trimp.
Nice.
Got a bunch of big books, a couple, 180, 8.5. A Batman 127 6.5, some stuff that I'm getting rid of, so to have a good time at San Diego, like a lot of us do. So
yeah, well, definitely support the San Diego Fund. Head on over to Brian McClay's channel and his Whatnot stream.
On Wednesday.
Go support him. Yeah, go support Rob and Neo's channel. Get the info on pack rips over there. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and hanging out tonight. We'll definitely dive more into this courtyard.io story. I think they're going to drop their info on Tuesday. And Tuesday is going to be a busy day, guys. I'll just float it out one more time. Some interesting thing is going to come out on Tuesday, and we're going to talk about it. So we'll have lots to talk about this week, and I'm sure we'll have to rally all the troops together again and do another live stream. But until then, gentlemen, thanks so much for hanging out tonight and hopping on the stream. Everyone in the chat, thanks so much for tuning in. Cameron, appreciate you. Thank you so much for hopping on as well. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Buckle up.
Peace.